So this is my interactive module planning template, and my lesson topic is sentence structure. So the background on this is I want to educate students on how to compose well-written sentences because I want to have good writers in my classroom, and it's important for me to be able to educate my students on how to write good sentences so that they can use these skills in their future education and beyond. So since I don't have actual students to write characteristics about, I made some general ones up. But these students will be first grade students who will be learning about sentence writing, and this will all be done via an online format since this is an interactive module. So the standard is 1 RF 2.3, recognize the components of a sentence, so capitalization, first word, and ending punctuation. And like I said, this will be first grade students. The platform I will be using is Wix, which you can find the link right here. So my first lesson objective is given 10 text boxes. I had to modify this a little bit because originally this said given 10 cards. So I've changed it so it fits in the online format. Given 10 text boxes that each contain a single word, students will be able to correctly identify by sorting into groups each word as a noun or verb with no more than 2 words and correctly sorted. So my main point is students will be able to classify nouns and verbs, and they will learn about how a sentence has different parts and consists of a noun and a verb. So they will be able to determine if words are nouns or verbs. And this assessment will be done via an interactive Google Slides presentation. So the students will open the slides presentation, make a copy of it, save it with their name. So then they can edit it, and when they're done, they will share it back with me. But this presentation will have a slide with boxes labeled nouns and verbs and a word bank, so students will sort by dragging and dropping words from the word bank into the appropriate box to classify them. So then this will cover the information that is learned in the subtopics below. So subtopic 1 is what is a verb. So to complete this, students will read a short story that I will write about a superhero who performs lots of actions. So I'll emphasize the verbs in that short story. Students will then write their own short stories, and they can add clip art or drawings if they want, and they will turn this in online, and this is considered creative because they're doing the writing themselves. They can use Google Docs or Microsoft Word for writing their stories, and then assessment, I will collect and read these stories. So subpoint 2 is what is a noun. So students will be able to give examples of nouns, and to learn about this, they will watch a Powtoon presentation that I made about different kinds of nouns, and this is passive, but they will also be completing a forum as assessment. So after watching the video, they'll be asked to complete a post in a discussion forum or comment section below the video that requires them to come up with a list of nouns on their own. Subpoint 3, integrating nouns and verbs. They'll be able to identify nouns and verbs both in sentences and as individual words. So they'll first complete a word search where they will be asked to highlight verbs in one color, so like pink, and nouns in another color, for example, green. And this is interactive. Students will also play the online game Grammar Gorillas, which is found at this website. They'll click on beginner, and they'll practice identifying verbs in a sentence. And this won't be formally graded, but it will help them with the overall main idea, which will be assessed at the end. The second learning objective is without the use of reference materials or notes, students will be able to correctly verbally name the 5 parts of a complete sentence with 100% accuracy. So the main point, which will be assessed at the end, is they'll learn about the 5 parts that make up a complete sentence by going through an interactive Pear Duck Google Slides, and they will submit their voice recording via the Vocaroo voice recorder website. So the subpoints here are students will learn about the 5 parts of a complete sentence, which they'll do by watching a Powtoon's presentation, which is passive, but they will also submit an exit ticket via Socrative that explains something that they learned or found interesting. So students, subpoint 2, will be able to determine if a sentence is complete or not. They will view the complete sentence challenge PowerPoint that I created and answer questions while viewing. So this is interactive. and the technology used is an interactive PowerPoint. So assessment, this information will be covered in the final assessment, but I will look at the answers that students submit. The third subpoint is students will be able to write complete sentences that contain the 5 parts. So they will view a few teacher examples, which I will provide in a screencast that point out the parts of a complete sentence, and then they will write their own complete sentences, and this is creative. So the technology used will be a screencast on the teacher end and then Google Docs or Microsoft Word on the student end. So they will write and submit their sentences, and that will be the assessment. So the third learning objective, I had to modify for an online instruction module. So I've revised this objective to be given a quiz that contains 10 sentences with at least 1 error each. Student will be able to rewrite the sentence in the correct manner or indicate through multiple choice answers what is wrong with the sentence with a score of 80% or higher on the quiz as a whole. So the main point for this, which again will be assessed at the end, will be students will be able to correct sentences that contain mistakes in order to further their understanding of how to write sentences correctly. So they will learn about how to write correct sentences via an interactive PowerPoint. Technology will be a survey or a quiz in the form of a survey on SurveyMonkey after instruction has been given. So the assessment will be, they'll take a quiz which will ask them to identify what is wrong with a sentence or rewrite sentences. So subpoint 1, students will learn about capital letters. They will watch the YouTube video provided to learn about capital letters, and this is passive, but they will be filling out a graphic organizer. The graphic organizer will just be either a Word doc or a Google Doc or something that they will download and submit once they fill it out. Then they will turn it back in, and it asks questions about what they learned and what questions they still have. The second subpoint is students will learn about the 4 types of sentences and what end mark to use with each kind. So I will make a YouTube video for that describes the 4 sentence types and will pause and give a number and then a sentence. So students can do a split screen with a provided Google form, and will pause the video after I give a sentence and can type their answer into the forms box, and then they will submit the form at the end. And this is interactive. Technology would be the video I make in the Google Forms, and then I will collect the answers to the questions asked in the video via the form. And the last subpoint is students will be able to correct errors in sentences and identify what kind of sentence is being used. So this combines the 2 previous subpoints, and they will do this by playing this game, which is interactive. And so the online game is the technology used, and the information, there is no formal assessment for this section. It will be assessed in the overall assessment, as mentioned in the main point above. So that is my interactive module.